Hey, welcome back to Evil's Comics. This guy right here is Evil Mike, or Mike if you prefer, and I got reviews for you today. We're going to be talking about JSA issues number 5 and 6. All the book information will be in the description below. Geoff Johns writes both issues, but different artist and colorist. Same letter though, Rob Leigh. Before we get started, please like, comment, subscribe on this guy's channel. It does help. Hit the bell. You never know when I'm going to be dropping videos. It's all free. Doesn't cost you anything. So let's get into it. So issue 5, if you are not caught up, I do have all the reviews for the previous issues, 4, 3, 2, 1. I will have them in a playlist. But we were at the end of this current arc. The JSA are about to go up against Degatron. We're dealing with Helena Wayne that is coming from a different future, her being the daughter of Batman and Catwoman. So that's exactly where we are. There's a whole bunch of speech going on with Helena Wayne, aka the Huntress, and she's basically telling us that because she comes from this weird time loop future, Degatron can't see her. She's basically invisible. So why the JSA are kind of doing this plan, which we'll find out in a little bit. Basically, she goes and tracks down her dad, the person that she's here to save. In her future, both her dad died early on in her story, and then Catwoman was kind of the one that raised her. And eventually we saw that Catwoman died as well. So knowing that both of them are alive and well, she tracks down Batman, explains everything that's going on, the bitter truth, everything, and basically waits for Batman's response. And his response is exactly the Batman we know. He just looks at her like she's crazy, and as he's trying to get a response from her, she just doesn't know what else to say, and she embraces her dad. And at this point, Batman kind of lays into her like, man, you shouldn't have told me this and that. I've dealt with time travel and that kind of stuff, and now that you've told me this, you've changed the future that you've come from. So you've already either failed or succeeded in your mission, kind of thing. But before they could get going any further, them start talking about the snow globe and stuff like that. The rest of the JSA show up with Madame Xanadu, and they basically try to start to talk about the situation with Helena Wayne and what's going to happen. But before they can, of course, Degatron shows up. And he shows up in pretty cool fashion, because it's not just him. He's a lot like Kang. There's different variants of him throughout time, and they all show up here. There's the regular one, there's an old man one somewhere, right here. But basically they show up to F up the JSA. We get this one scene where parts of the JSA plan are coming into fruition, but we got Stargirl and Jakin. They're down. It's at one of old Degatron's bases. It's destroyed, but they're looking for anything that he might have left there that he touched physically to enact the spell that they're gonna try and do. As they're looking around, they run into a very young, he's called the pre-Degatron. It's like a kid version of Degatron, and he's supposed to be one of the more powerful ones or something like that, I don't know. But he commences to fight them, and then we got the fight going on in the foreground. Degatron's pretty much wiping their butt at this point until he kind of goes after the current Dr. Fate. Madame Xanadu, while this is going on, does tap into Degatron's past, present, and future, and we get to see what happens, because his whole thing is he's trying to wipe out the JSA. So we do get to see in different scenes what happens if he succeeds during the present and in the future. And basically it starts low level. I mean, in this one he's killing all the Bat family besides the ones with powers, and over here he's taking out all the DC gods and stuff. Kind of cool to see Darkseid dead on the ground, kind of thing. He goes to grab the snow globe, and before he can, that's when Dr. Fate gets involved, Kalisz, and basically the battle at this point is focused on him and Kalisz and the snow globe. That Dr. Fate is preventing him from grabbing it. Degatron is like, nah, you're not powerful enough for me to do this. Khalid actually does something cool. He calls the JSA from past, present, and future, and he brings them all in one moment. So we have like all kinds of different versions of the same characters, JSA from the past, present, and way beyond the future. It says some characters that I don't know if it's just me, but maybe we've never seen these characters before, kind of thing. But eventually they commence to beat that ass, and eventually it's 3 different versions of Dr. Fate, and Stargirl shows up with the artifact that they ended up finding from the little battle with the pre-Degatron or whatever. Eventually they state they can't kill him, that they can't stop him in that type of fashion. So what Dr. Fate comes up with is they trap him inside the snow globe, with Thomas Wayne and Martha and stuff like that, all the Flashpoint universe and stuff like this. At the very end, everything is this, they see kind of this, everything's done and finished. Everybody that wasn't supposed to be there vanishes except for Helena Wayne. For some reason she's still here. There is a scene where like Batman's kind of addressing the snow globe. He knows it's tied to his father. I mean, it's something that he did during the Batman Beyond thing, or Flashpoint Beyond, I'm sorry. Eventually they're trying to figure out what they're going to do with Helena Wayne, and basically all we get from Batman is she can't stay here, kind of thing. We do go 1 week further into the future. We're at the Brownstone, and all of a sudden they're trying to talk and figure out what's going to go down with Helena Wayne. And before that gets going, that's when we have Stargirl and Hourman and the Boom, show up to kind of address that they were just saved during the Stargirl thing. So we go to JSA issue number 6, and it's basically a direct continuation of that. It starts out with like, different versions of heroes, past, present, and future. And that's kind of what this is leading to, because we have from Stargirl, there's like 30 some odd characters that appeared that were forgotten about, and now they're in the main time stream. As soon as they put Degatron in the snow globe, they kind of appeared. Of course, in this timeline, Jay Garrick doesn't have a daughter, but all of a sudden seeing, I think her name is Joan, I can't remember, Judy Garrick. But as soon as she sees her, all of a sudden the memories come flooding back. They kind of brush off, and they show you some examples of her origin and how she disappeared, that kind of thing. But it's expressed that as soon as her and the Flash meet, it's that during the short amount of time, it's like they spent eons talking, kind of thing. We jump over to what happens to Elena, and she's actually in New York City with Jace. Bruce Wayne felt like it would be a better start for her to be away from Gotham. She even states that this is where she believes she grew up with Batman and Catwoman. She also does mention that she needs to have a conversation with Catwoman, but at the moment, her and Batman should be going through something. She mentions the current event, the Batman and Catwoman, Gotham war that's going on right now. We go back to the JSA, and basically they're just trying to find homes and places for all these new sidekicks and characters. Most of them are from the 40s. Most of their family are gone and dead. We have this one with Salem, who is Dr. Fate's protege, and a conversation with Khalid. She really doubts Khalid, and we kind of find out why, that she's kind of mad that this isn't her Dr. Fate. It's because Dr. Fate was about to cure her from this curse that she has. It's basically like a unlucky kind of thing. We touch base with Cherry Bomb. Cherry Bomb's powers have progressed since she was on that island with Stargirl. Like as soon as she appeared in this timeline, now her powers have connected with the main timeline and have gotten better. We get this cool scene, almost got me to cry. But we have, and I think her sidekick name is Ladybug. I forget her real name. Her real name is Rosabelle. But Courtney is basically taking, this girl back to her farm. Her parents are dead or something like that. It's like 100 years difference or 80 years difference or something like that. She feels like nobody's going to be there. You know, they already know kind of the timeline, and she didn't feel like anybody's going to be there. And all of a sudden, this bee shows up. And if you're reading The Peacemaker Tries Hard, it's the same bee. It's Mikel. It's he is the sidekick to Red Bee, and I think Red Bee is this girl's great 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 grandfather, something like that. When they explain why the bee's still around, it's because he is waiting for this lost sidekick to reappear. We got some other cool, like, you know, mentions. John Henry connecting with Steel, you know, kind of being his great great grandfather's brother. But basically, ultimately, we got Helena and Power Girl, and they're kind of stating that, you know, the JSA has done this before, that they need to move on with this new, you know, set of people, that they're going to look for the most loyal and people that really deserve to be in the JSA, and they're going after the most loyal, and it happens to be Solomon Grundy, and that's where this issue leaves off. It's fantastic, man, going from one arc to the other one. This continuing with so many different books, the Stargirl, the whole Batman Catwoman thing, it's fantastic. But that's my review. Is a little long, 2 issues, but let me know down below what you guys are thinking. Alright guys,